This is Fairview Village in the heart of Guyana. It was here in 2009 that Erik Solheim, then Norway's Minister of Environment and International Development, and Dr. Jagdeo, then President of Guyana, signed a landmark agreement. It was among the first in the world in which countries which have left the forest as it is, or otherwise use it in a sustainable way, would essentially be paid for doing so. And Guyana was pledged $250 million US, big money at the time. Solheim returned to Fairview this week and spoke of the success of the LCDS in how the forest saving deal with Guyana has benefited people.
It was amazing. I was so happy because sometimes when money is spent, you see no results. But this was exactly the opposite. You can see results everywhere. What did we see? Well, we saw soccer fields and cricket fields. Well, if young people cannot find entertainment, will they stay home in that part of the world? We saw centers for ICT where local people could connect to Georgetown, but indeed to the entire world. They can connect to China, India, and the United States, sitting there in the interior of Guyana by these ICT centers. We saw huge cow farms providing jobs and prosperity to the local people. We saw improved roads, and we saw any number of initiatives for ecotourism, again providing jobs.
15 years after they signed the Guyana-Norway forest saving deal, Erik Solheim and Jagdeo were on the same stage again. The reason? To discuss how Guyana's model, the low-carbon development strategy, now in its second phase, could be a global model for forest finance. It's something that other countries could use. This was the reason for the high-level discussion conversation in Georgetown Monday. Forests. Guyana's total land area is 21 million hectares, with 85% of it, or roughly 18 million hectares, covered by trees of various kinds. Those trees store 19.6 gigatons of carbon dioxide, a gas which traps heat. The carbon dioxide, or carbon for short, along with other harmful gases, are causing the Earth's temperature to rise, leading to climate change and extreme weather events such as floods, wildfires, and more frequent and intense hurricanes. Guyana has avoided cutting down trees to clear land for big agriculture and mining projects like other countries have done to earn money for national development projects. In return, the country has argued that there must be value it must earn in keeping the forest standing. Over recent decades, there have been global efforts to protect the rainforest and to provide money to countries which have been doing so. This would give them an incentive to continue with sustainable forestry practices, protecting the forest while earning from it. But that money has been slow in coming. But Dr. Jagdeo believes the theory of the benefits of keeping forests standing to solve the climate crisis has been proven in Guyana's case, and it's time the rest of the world does something.
In Guyana's case, we have been successful in the sense that we got support from Norway and the deal with Hess. 30% of our forest carbon was sold to Hess for $750 million. But if we extrapolate at the same price, we'd probably get about $2.5 billion from a market-based mechanism. We have 1% of global forests. The 99% of the remaining global forests do not have now $2.5 billion in public funds dedicated to them. So if we want to save the forest and stop the 20 hectares or whatever you said, 20,000 hectares per year that we lose, we have to provide the incentive at scale and stop bickering and coming up with excuses about the model. The model has been proven. We can use these resources to support indigenous communities without encroaching on their land rights. We can get everyone involved. We can use the funds accountably. The $750 million, about 110 will go to the Amerindian communities. 640 million will go to adaptation in Guyana. Every cent will be audited. Every cent will be audited and properly spent and dedicated to climate objectives. So I believe it's time for the global community to step up and address this issue. and provide the resources at scale.
As Guyana marks the 15th anniversary of the signing of the Guyana-Norway deal, President Irfan Ali praised Solheim for stepping up at the time, saying what he did was inspiring and invaluable.
We are happy and thankful that the world had people like you who had the vision, the foresight, the understanding of the complexity of the problem, but more importantly, the will to do something. And by signing that agreement with Guyana, you made your mark and you did something.
Today, the money Guyana has received from Norway is still being used. Guyana's efforts to be paid for conserving the rainforest recently resulted in the sale of carbon credits, with the first sale going to American firm Hess for $750 million. A set portion of the money, 15%, is allocated to indigenous communities, but they need help to design, implement and monitor the effectiveness of their projects to benefit from the funding. The funding from Norway is being used in a groundbreaking project by the National Tushaus Council to help the villages develop 10-year plans for community projects to advance the development of all of the country's indigenous communities. Those communities include Fairview, where that landmark Guyana-Norway partnership was signed a decade and a half ago. Reporting for the newsroom, I'm Neil Marks.